When I got the letter about Eddie, I told everyone I was fine. I said there was nothing I could do. But that wasn't the truth. The truth is, I was afraid to see where he fell.
The whole truth is, I was afraid. Not of dying. I'd already accepted that might happen. I was afraid of seeing it. Afraid of knowing exactly where he fell. Afraid of standing in that spot and feeling it. Afraid of what it would do to me if I let it in. So I didn't. I kept moving. I kept my head down. I finished the war. I came home. And I never looked back. I think about that a lot now. How I chose not to know. How I chose to keep going instead of stopping. Instead of sitting with it. People talk about survivor's guilt. I've heard that term. I know what it means. But this wasn't guilt. It was something else. It was protection. I protected myself from the weight of it, from the realness of it. And in doing that, I left him there. Not just his body. I left him there. I left the brother I knew, the kid who asked me if I was scared. I left him in a field in France, and I never went back. When I finally stood at his grave last year, 79 years later, I realized something. He was never the one who was buried. I was. I buried the part of me that should have grieved, the part that should have stopped and felt it, the part that should have said his name out loud and cried and asked why. I buried all of that, and I spent the rest of my life pretending it didn't matter. But it did. It mattered. I don't know if Eddie would have cared whether I went to his grave or not. Maybe he wouldn't have. Maybe it doesn't change anything. But it changed me. Standing there, saying his name, putting my hand on that stone, it let something out. Something I'd been holding so tightly for so long that I didn't even know I was holding it anymore. The dreams stopped after that. I don't hear his voice in the kitchen anymore. I don't wake up at 3 in the morning with my heart pounding. I sleep now, not great, but better. And when I do dream, sometimes I see him again. But this time, he's not walking away. He's just standing there, and I'm standing with him. And we don't say anything. We don't have to.
I've been thinking about time a lot lately. How much of it I had, how much of it I wasted, how much of it I spent running from something I thought would destroy me if I let it catch up. But it didn't destroy me. It was the running that did that. I'm 88 years old now. My body doesn't work the way it used to. My hands shake sometimes. I forget things. I move slowly. But my mind is clear. And what I keep coming back to is this. I spent 70 years protecting myself from grief. And in doing that, I lost something I can't get back. I lost the chance to know my brother is more than a memory. I lost the chance to sit with the weight of losing him when it was still fresh, when it still meant something immediate. By the time I finally went to see him, he'd been gone longer than I'd known him. He was 20 when he died. I'm 88. He's been dead for almost 80 years. And I only just said goodbye. My daughter asked me on the flight home if I regretted not going sooner. I told her yes. She asked if it helped, being there, finally seeing it. I thought about that for a long time, and I told her it didn't fix anything. It didn't bring him back. It didn't erase the 70 years I spent not going, but it did something else. It let me stop carrying it alone. When you bury something, you think you're getting rid of it. You think if you don't look at it, if you don't touch it, if you just keep moving, it'll stay down. But it doesn't. It follows you. It shows up in the middle of the night. It shows up in dreams. It shows up in the quiet moments when you're sitting alone and there's nothing left to distract you. And eventually, you have to turn around and look at it. You have to dig it back up. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because it's the only way to let it go. I don't know why I waited so long. Maybe I thought I had more time. Maybe I thought it didn't matter. Maybe I was just scared. Probably all of those things. But I know this now. The things you bury don't stay buried. They wait. And the longer you leave them, the heavier they get. I'm recording this because I don't want to carry this anymore. I've carried it long enough. And maybe someone else is carrying something too. Something they think they've buried. Something they've been running from. I don't know what it is, but I know what it feels like. It feels like waking up at 3 in the morning and hearing a voice that isn't there. It feels like dreaming about someone you can't reach. It feels like standing in your kitchen in the dark, wondering why you're still here and they're not. It feels like knowing there's something you should have done and didn't. I can't tell you what to do. I don't have advice. I barely figured this out myself. All I know is it doesn't stay down. Whatever you buried, it's still there. And eventually, you're going to have to go back. I think about Eddie a lot now. Not the way I used to. Not with that hollow ache. Not with the guilt. Just with memory. I think about the way he used to laugh when he thought something was stupid. This short, sharp sound, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. I think about the way he'd sit with his elbows on his knees, staring at nothing, just thinking. I think about that last cigarette we shared in Georgia, how neither of us really wanted it, but we smoked it anyway because we didn't know what else to do. I wish I'd asked him more questions. I wish I'd told him I loved him. I wish I'd said I was scared too, but I didn't. And I can't go back and change that. All I can do is remember him now, not as the thing I buried, but as my brother. I don't know how much time I have left. Maybe a year, maybe 5, maybe less. But I know this. I'm not going to spend it running anymore. I'm not going to spend it pretending the weight isn't there. I went back. I said his name. And now I can carry him differently. Not as something buried, but as something I finally let myself hold. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. I don't know why you're here. I don't know what you're carrying. But if there's something you buried a long time ago, something you've been running from, maybe it's time to go back. Not because it'll fix everything, but because it's still waiting, and it won't stay down forever.